Welcome. I'm Alyssa Nobriga, your host of the Healing and Human Potential podcast, a place for you to discover the multidimensionality of what it means to be human. Over the past 20 years, I've trained thousands of coaches in my methodology, leveraging my experience as a former psychotherapist, and I'm here to share with you all the wisdom and insights that I've learned along the way. Each week, I'll share with you life-changing tools to support you in awakening and manifesting your dream life from the inside out. We'll be exploring the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern everyday life, really diving deep into the art of human potential through the lens of psychology, spirituality, and coaching. Let's let the magic unfold. I have a special episode for you today discussing one of my favorite topics, arguably one of the most important, because I'd say it affects 98% of humans, if not more. We're going to dive into worth, the concept of worthiness and unworthiness, but you can also replace the word worth with confidence, identity, or self-esteem. And so I'm also going to give you a powerful tool to help you break free and start feeling good immediately. And a lot of people don't consciously look to do worth work. Oftentimes, unworthiness can be unconscious to people, but most people have some level of it playing out in their lives. So maybe they're comparing themselves to others, or they're looking for approval through what they succeed, their status, or other people liking them. So if we trace all of these different blocks down, oftentimes the feelings of unworthiness sit at the root of these other stories. And this scarcity mindset of not enough can be projected onto other things like not enough time, not enough money, or I'm not enough. And we're conditioned to look outside of ourselves for happiness, but in our innocence, we think that the relationship, the job, the money will be it. And yet we've all attained our dreams at some point, and this desire for more still comes up. That's because you can't fix an inner perceptual problem with an outer solution. And so in this episode, I'll be guiding you through a process to support you in embodying your wholeness so that you feel a deeper level of love and belonging in the world. And when we do this work around worth, it affects every single area of our lives. How much money we make, the relationships we settle for or don't, the quality of experiences we actually go to create for our lives, or our ability to achieve and maintain our goals. For example, we're no longer willing to put up with toxic relationships because we're connected to something deep within us where we don't put up with anything less than what we're already receiving on our own. Professionally, we're able to grow our businesses and careers much easier because our worth isn't tied up in what we do. If you want to deeply and profoundly change your life, there are two ways that I see you can do this, and it's working on the worth level. You either enhance your sense of self, or you wake up to your inherent worth and value. And this is available to everyone, everywhere. I don't care what your background, your life experience, or story is, it's available to you right now. But the key is shifting it from the inside out. And this was such a big topic for me, something that used to paralyze me in comparison to others. I would see how far they were in their business because I was getting licensed as a psychotherapist and I hadn't started my career yet. And I kept feeling like I was behind and I kept doubting myself. I didn't really feel like I was living into my potential. And it created a lot of unnecessary suffering and it stunted my growth because I was so tripped up in my mind, worried about where I thought I should be. And I totally missed my life and all the blessings that were available when I was in that scarcity mindset. And if you had told me years ago that there could be an end to it or a way that it would be in the background of my experience, I wouldn't have believed you. And so I'm happy to share with you some of the insights that changed my life around this. I find a lot of people think something's wrong with them in some way, and then they attempt to compensate for this with different ways, depending on what their core strategy or core story is. So we usually do have one core worth story that we live out of. Most people are unconscious to it, but some people have done personal development work and they're starting to wake up to it. Some unconscious core stories are, I have to achieve success to feel worthy, or I have to take care of others to feel valuable. I need to be perfect so that I feel good enough. And to me, these are directly correlated to our Enneagram types. And I did a whole Enneagram episode. If you haven't listened to that, I highly recommend that you do. We'll add it to the show notes here below. But another thing to be aware of around this is that most people have bought into some limiting misunderstanding, not only about who they are, but about what's possible in their lives. We have this unconscious set point that we live out of, and it's directly related to our worth. And those set points can look like weight, financial, relational, all areas of our life. And just to ground this, I'll share a story about a woman that I coached. So she hit a certain level of success in her business, but then she would revert back to this set point because she was afraid of being seen, aka the fear of being rejected. And then that would essentially come up and stop her from taking consistent action. She was identified with the part of her that wanted to hide, and it held her back because deep down she didn't feel worthy of the success that she had just created until I showed her another way. So instead of judging the part of her that wanted to hide or was looping in self-doubt, because these were unconscious protective mechanisms, I helped her embrace those parts of her that didn't feel worthy. So even as a therapist and as a coach, if somebody wanted to hide and they were physically there with me in my office, I would give them a blanket and I'd say, it's okay to hide. And I cannot tell you, almost every single time they put themselves under the blanket, they cry for about a minute and then they're done. But if we don't really give these parts of us space to share or to express and to be allowed, they get stuck in our nervous system and in our psyche, and we unconsciously live out of them. So really the key is not identifying and not judging any of these parts. Because even with the greatest strategies in the world and the best efforts, if you have an unconscious belief that you don't deserve the success that you're creating, you're going to unconsciously sabotage the level and the ease at which you can create it. You're only going to let yourself go so far with that kind of story running internally. If you don't feel worthy of the success, the ego will sabotage it. And life's a mirror. So by embracing that part of her, ironically, she instantly felt her wholeness. And this makes sense, right? If we're judging a part of ourselves, of course, we're not going to feel whole. There's a part of us that's missing. And so again, the power of acceptance, embracing all parts of you, instantly helps you experience your wholeness. It's not about trying to get somewhere else in the world, having an outside-in reference point, because that's never going to work. In my eyes, there are two ways to do worth work. One is on the psychological dimension, and the other is on the spiritual dimension. So first, it's about removing the blocks in your awareness that have held you back. There's nothing to fix because you are not broken. There is nothing wrong with you. It is just about removing the thoughts and the feelings that have clouded the perception of your wholeness. Then it's about strengthening the part of you that already knows what's true and more fully awakening to who you are beyond any concept of who you are, waking up out of the trance of unworthiness. Because all that was happening was there was a misidentification in the moment. It's just an unconscious habit of thinking. And so that's why you don't have to do anything to heal it. It's an illusion. And it's like parting the clouds that block the awareness of your wholeness. Just like if you had a bad dream, you wouldn't go back into the dream to change it, right? You just wake up from it. And so don't get sucked into trying to fix it, because that's the ego trap. That's living in the dream. And so anytime you're caught in the story of not good enough, it's a wake-up call to that moment beyond any story of good enough or not good enough. That's the spiritual dimension. And then the more you see through the story, the more you weaken unconsciously believing and living out of it. And I've come up with 3 levels of worth. So it's I'm not worthy, I am worthy, and beyond worthy. So I'm not worthy and I am worthy are both egoic levels. But I don't mean ego is bad, right? We all want healthy, integrated egos. But we do want to move from I'm not worthy to really claiming that we are worthy. This is medicine for us to work on the psychological. This is about embracing our humanity, all parts of ourselves. You're upgrading the version of who you think you are and what's possible in your life so you can more easily step into your goals and create a life that's aligned for you. So I'm not worthy and I am worthy are psychological. Unhealthy ego is I'm not worthy. Healthy ego is I am worthy. And then the next level of worth is waking up to the reality that on an essence level, you are beyond worthy. And this is speaking to the spiritual dimension, knowing that you are priceless. No one is better or less than another. Only the ego would make up a story like that. You are what sees those stories of good enough or not good enough come and go. And there's this saying that if a train goes by, you're not on it. And so if a thought goes by, it means it's not who you are. It's only a thought. It came and went. You are what sees the thoughts come and go. And this is the realization that no definition the mind puts on you could ever capture the real radiance of who and what you already are. That your worth is independent from anything external, any job title, level of income, relationship, way you look or perform. You are so much bigger than anything that you do. But what happens in society, oftentimes people will say, you deserve this or you deserve that. And I know this has the best of intentions, but if you deserve it now, then there are going to be other times where you won't. And then this unconsciously drives people to overwork as a way to compensate feeling good enough. And this isn't only a personal thing, it's also a cultural thing. So unworthiness plays itself out through the collective psyche. Like it's in the fabric mostly of Western cultures because they're more individualistic as opposed to Eastern cultures, which are more community identified. But our upbringing and worldview influences the stories we have about who we are, our self-worth. It's shaped by the culture we were raised in, our religious or spiritual beliefs, our family dynamics and values, as well as subliminal messaging and advertising among your own personal experience and other things. But it's kind of like the shade of tinted glasses that you're seeing the world through. And so it has to be addressed in a more holistic way, not just a personal way. But as you connect to your inherent worth outside of any external qualifiers, the triggers in your life that have held you back, they don't so much because you have space for them now. You can see that they don't mean anything about you. That's just the mind. But for people to really know this beyond a concept of what I'm saying, we need to have an experience of our essence as whole and complete exactly as we are. And as we do this, it creates space for deep transformation in our lives. And again, not one level is better than the other. Both are needed. We want to embody our worth on a healthy egoic level as well as on an essence level. This is a love that includes both our human and our being. And so there are going to be times where this conceptually makes sense to you, where you know it's true, that you're worthy, but you can't quite feel it. Maybe you're caught up in the emotion of the moment. And so I want to share with you a tool to help you experience your wholeness anytime you need a reminder. This is one of many experiential embodying your worth approaches, and it happens to be one that I share in my accredited coaching certification program, where essentially our essence embraces our ego. It's never about fixing yourself. It's always about accepting all parts of yourself. Just as a child, we would see their inherent worth and wholeness exactly as they are, independent of anything that they do or perform. We offer that to ourselves, and then we instantly feel better. Like imagine a child looking to do a cartwheel and they're like, look what I can do. Like that's adorable, right? We may clap, but it didn't matter if that child did the cartwheel or fell over. You can still see their preciousness. And so that kind of compassionate witnessing of ourselves is some of the most healing and transformative work that we can do inside of ourselves. Again, you don't need to do anything different because there was never anything wrong with you. You just thought that there was. Anytime we feel unworthy, all that's happening is we're identified in the moment with a part of us that feels unworthy. There's an insecure thought and insecure feelings that are clouding the perception of our wholeness. And so we embrace the part of us that doesn't feel good enough, and that parts the clouds that have blocked us from more fully realizing that we've already been free. And I love this work, especially for people that put themselves outside their comfort zones, that are growth-minded. You're not always going to feel secure. And so having a tool like this is going to help you come back to your center and really embody your fullness. This is a gift. And so let's dive into the tool. Know that you can always come back to this and take full advantage of it, going through it as many times as you need it. And feel free to pause at any part where you need more time. I also find that community is one of the best ways to create sustainable change. So if you want to share this with a friend to do it together and really support each other in getting free, I highly recommend that you do that. Imagine having a fulfilling career doing what you love, working from anywhere in the world, setting your own hours while making good money and a big impact. If that lights you up, then I'm super excited to share with you today's sponsor, the Institute for Coaching Mastery. This is my robust, accredited year-long certification program for newer seasoned coaches, therapists, leaders, and those just looking to up-level their life in a profound way. We have an amazing community of students from all around the world who have really started their journey to expand with us both personally and professionally. And this experience is designed to give you the 3 things that you need to thrive. So first, you have all of the tools and support you need to move past what's been holding you back so that you can completely change the trajectory of your life. And then you learn how to masterfully and confidently facilitate transformation with your clients or your team, regardless of your niche. If you want to do health, business, relationship, or you just have no idea yet, we hold your hand through that. And then lastly, you'll receive my 6-figure and beyond signature roadmap that's customizable to meet you wherever you are. So whether you want to do high ticket sales, online marketing, or you just want to hit 6 figures without ever needing to go on social media, we've got you covered. And this truly is the most rewarding work in the world. We have new students now who have a wait list of dream clients in under a year. We also have seasoned students who are doing $80,000 months. And this is really about creating lasting transformation from the inside out so that you can share your gifts and serve the world in all the ways that you're called to. And I've seen firsthand the power of what happens when you have the community to collaborate with, but you also have the right tools and resources to really thrive. And so whether you want to do your own personal development, you're wanting to become a coach, or you're just looking for a cutting edge approach to really grow your business, the Institute for Coaching Mastery is for you. You are held every single step of the way. And so if you want to get behind the scenes access to the Institute with 3 proven transformational tools for free to help you create the business and life you love, all you have to do is go to alyssanobriga.com/tools, or you can find us at alyssanobriga.com/apply now to see all the details and apply today. So grab a pen and a paper and know that you can work on anything that's alive for you, any triggers of not feeling good enough, a relationship ending, a failure at work, maybe not reaching a weight goal. Trust whatever is alive for you. And as always, if you have big T trauma or you don't feel safe to do this type of work, please always take care of yourself. Work with a trained professional instead. Okay, so number 1, take a moment to set an intention for what it is you would love to experience through this process. You may want to put your hand on your heart, take a nice slow deep breath in, filling your lungs and your belly, and just let go of any stress or tension being held that you can just let go of in this moment. Taking another slow deep breath, opening your heart space, and gently letting it go. And when you're ready, I want you to write down from the part of you that doesn't think that they're worthy or deserving to have what you want. Write down exactly as you hear it inside of yourself. Let this be unconscious, just speaking in first person, letting it be raw and real. You don't have to overthink this. This is just about flowing with what you hear inside of yourself so you can let that emotion come up and out. So maybe it sounds like I'll never be successful. Everybody else can do it, but I can't. I have so much work to do on myself. And let yourself just write. Don't pick up the pen, just let it come up and out, giving space for this part of you that doesn't feel worthy, expressing in first person. If that doesn't feel complete, feel free to pause and then come back when you're ready. So now I want you to switch where you're sitting. So you shift the energy and start to embody your essence. Taking a nice deep breath into your heart space and really connect into your heart with the part of you that knows your inherent worth and value. Imagining that this part that just wrote and expressed was a little child. And see this child in the innocence and the preciousness of who they are. And I want you to speak from embodying your essence to this part of you, responding and telling that insecure part exactly what it needed to hear. So maybe it sounds like, I really get that you're scared and I'm sorry I wasn't able to be there for you before. I'm here now. Tell me more. And just a hint, love doesn't try to get rid of any feelings. It's not trying to talk you out of them or cheerlead you. It honors all of it. Love listens and leans in. And so as that feels complete, take a moment to breathe into the energy in your body wherever there's a contraction. Let yourself meet it with acceptance, fully allowing it to be here in this moment for however long it wants to be here. Just saying yes to it for a moment. And letting it go, coming back into your center, into your heart space. And we're going to move into a compassionate self-forgiveness process that you can use as a framework to insert whatever your truth is. So this sounds like I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding, fill in the blank, and then the truth is, and then state what your truth is. So it could sound like, I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I'm not good enough. The truth is, that was just a story my mind made up. There's no basis in reality for that being true. Or I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I didn't deserve to have the success that I desire. The truth is, my worth is priceless. And so I want to invite you to do at least 5 rounds of these. If you can do more, let yourself just be drenched in your own love and compassion. This is where we really connect the heart back up into the mind. And it's a beautiful framework that I learned at the University of Santa Monica when I worked on faculty there. So as that feels complete and you start feeling lighter in your body, if you don't feel lighter, do more compassionate self-forgiveness. And start to notice how you embody yourself from this place, really owning your power and worth. Notice, how do you sit? Or how do you stand from this knowing? Let yourself energetically take this in as a touchstone and as a blueprint so you can come back to it anytime. So maybe you're sitting taller in the chair, maybe your eyes are open, maybe your heart is open, your shoulders are relaxed and rolled back naturally. You're feeling centered, relaxed, and present. Just take note, take time to notice what this energetically feels like in your body now. And then from here, I want you to tune into an affirmation that you can come back to help you to remember this anytime you need it. And keep it short, but also make sure that it energizes your body. That's what's going to tell you if it's in alignment. This is going to help you create new neural networks. So when those old stories come back, you have something to replace it with. So it could sound something like, I am worthy, or I am beyond worthy. I deserve to have anything I want. If they can do it, I can do it. Whatever feels good and true for you. And then lastly, what's one new action that you can do from here in the next 24 hours to ground this new way of being in your life? So eventually it will become a new way of being, but we want to ground it into action. So maybe there's a potential client that you've been intimidated to work with, but you've decided that this afternoon you're going to invite them in for a conversation. Or maybe you want to lead the next team meeting because you're feeling more confident, more embodied, more empowered. What is it for you? Write it down and give yourself accountability to make sure you do it in the next 24 hours. Maybe you go on Instagram and do a story and tag me so I can help hold you accountable, or you tell your best friend. What is it for you? Ground it here. Beautiful. I want to honor you for being willing to take the time to do this work. I promise you, this is where your life changes. It's not about getting rid of anything. It's about embracing all of it. And when we slow down enough to be truly present in our lives, we realize that what we've been searching for has actually been here all along. That you don't have to work on not being good enough. You only have to work on staying awake to the illusion of not being good enough. Now, as you move forward, anytime a feeling of unworthiness comes up, it's an invitation to see the story that you were believing in the moment, and then know it was just a story, and feel into that energy so you can embrace that part of you, thank it for just trying to protect you, and know that you can use everything for your awakening. And eventually you end up coming to a place of loving these stories because they are what wake you up. They're the breadcrumbs pointing you back to your freedom. And in a society that profits from our unworthiness, loving ourselves is a rebellious act. And so I hope that the insights and tool that I've shared with you here help show you that everything that blocks you can free you. And as we do this work for ourselves, we collectively help uplift those around us, and we break free from the blocks that are holding our society back. So I want you to remember that nothing can be added to or taken away from the fullness and the gift of who and what you already are. And if you feel called to share this with a friend that you think it can serve, again, please do. We are here to uplift and remind each other of what's true. Thank you so much for doing this work that changes the world, starting with yourself. It truly does make a difference. And if you're finding value in this podcast, a cost-free way to support us is by leaving an up to 5-star review. It does mean the world to us. And as a thank you gift, we're going to send you one of the most powerful tools that you will ever discover. You're going to get behind-the-scenes access showing you how to live into your full potential without letting fear hold you back from stepping into your dreams. Just head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave a review now. You can take a screenshot before hitting submit and then go to alyssanobriga.com/podcast to upload it. And make sure to have your automatic downloads turned on wherever you listen so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I have so much magic I can't wait to share with you. And you can find all this information in the show notes below. But lastly, if you're on Instagram, I love connecting and hearing from you. So come on over and say hello. I'm at Alyssa Nobriga. Thank you again for being here. I cannot wait to share more with you.